Well, thank you for joining us this evening. Tonight, we're bringing down, tabling our budget 2023 for the town of Conception Bay South. So without further ado, I'm going to turn the proceedings over to the Chair of Finance and Administration, our Deputy Mayor, Andrea Goss.
Good evening, Your Worship, councillors, and those watching online. It is my duty this evening to present the Town of Conception Bay South's budget for 2023. This council has served residents for just over 1 year, and tonight we present our second budget. Indeed, it was one of the town's most challenging budgets in recent history. It is evident on many levels that we live in a world of uncertainty. Inflation is at a rate that we have not seen in decades. COVID-19 supply chain challenges, rising interest rates, and the war in Ukraine are seriously impacting today's economic climate. The people of Newfoundland and Labrador, including our residents, are not isolated from this. The cost of fuel, food, and other consumables has increased exponentially. As a service provider and employer, the town of Conception Bay South shares these same challenges. While we are not projecting any borrowing for 2023, which is consistent with our debt management strategy, we do have several loans coming up for renewal that will impact our debt servicing costs. In addition, our costs for regional services, such as garbage disposal fees and water service fees, are continuing to increase. Although our costs are at an all-time high, a brighter note is that so too are revenues. Our increasing revenues demonstrate that council's strategies for economic development, residential growth, cost management, and debt reduction are all succeeding. Were it not for external factors outside of our control, the town would be in an excellent fiscal position, more than likely in our strongest financial position. The global economy causes an unfortunate situation for municipal budgeting, and this council cannot hide from the fiscal realities of the world. Instead, we must manage our way through to ensure a sustainable future for our community and our people. Council is committed to sound financial management. We endeavor to ensure every dollar of taxpayer money is spent prudently. The town has reduced spending and debt for the last 5 years, all while facing increasing expenses and at the same time adding new services and programs. To be concise, council is already operating at an exceptionally lean capacity. Very few services could be cut or eliminated in this budget without negatively impacting core services. Spending has already been reduced, and council does not wish to decrease the essential services our residents rely on. Your Worship, the town is required by provincial legislation to ensure expenses balance with revenue through the budget process. Municipalities are not permitted to carry a deficit. Today, council is presenting a balanced budget of $39.7 million for 2023, up 6.7% over 2022. External costs have increased to the point that council can no longer absorb them. And unfortunately, we must pass some of those increases to residents. Therefore, residents will see a modest increase in the mill rate this year. The residential property mill rate will increase by 0.15 to 7.30. The commercial mill rate remains at 11.5. With that being said, Conception Bay South's residential mill rate is still one of the lowest of any comparable municipality on the Northeast Avalon, and our commercial mill rate is on par with our neighbors to the east. We continue to be one of the most affordable places to live and do business. I must caution residents that council was very conservative in coming forth with such a slight increase to our mill rate. The easiest thing would have been to provide a more aggressive increase, which would have guaranteed to cover our expenses for the following years. However, our financial advisors have indicated that economic conditions are expected to ease either towards the end of 2023 or early in 2024. Therefore, we made projections for residential tax revenue based on prices subsiding in that time frame. If prices do not ease, residents should be aware that we may have to revisit the mill rate again next year. Your worship, the town has historically subsidized various services for our residents. This is particularly true of water and sewer services and access to our recreational facilities. However, the town is no longer able to fully subsidize these costs, and Budget 2023 is about initiating a pricing formula that begins to move toward cost recovery. Since 2017, the town's cost to provide water and sewer services has increased by approximately 23%. By charging residents a price that is more reflective of the actual cost, council hopes that residents will have a greater focus on water conservation. In saying this, water and sewer taxes will increase minimally in 2023. The residential rate will increase by $20 to $635 per unit. The commercial rate will be $960 per unit base rate. The school rate will increase by $5 per student, which is paid for by the Newfoundland and Labrador Eastern School District. And if water meters exist in commercial properties, that will now be the method used for taxation. Residents will also notice a slight increase in some recreation fees. While prices are going up, this is certainly not in any attempt for greater revenue. Maintenance, cleaning, lighting, electricity, all of these costs are increasing and are outside of the town's control. Our price adjustments allow us to operate our facilities while still providing programs and services that are competitive with our neighbors. I would also like to mention a new change for daycares. Daycares within the town of Conception Bay South were previously exempt from business tax. Budget 2023 sees them paying the minimum base tax rate of $350 per year. This change is reflective of council's decision to ensure fairness and an equitable taxing structure for our business community. Your worship, despite these challenging times, Budget 2023 is about continued growth and the continued provision of high-quality services for our residents. Topping the list of what's new are two very exciting and long-awaited projects: the new library and the community park, which are essentially now complete. The town is allocating $50,000 to operate the new library, which is housed within the new Clarence J. Morgan building, a modern and much desired facility for residents. In addition to providing important educational resources, the building will provide valued meeting space to community groups, and a new marker space, enabling Newfoundland and Labrador public libraries to expand its important programming services. In addition, the town has added an outdoor reading garden to the design of the facility, which will provide residents with the opportunity to immerse themselves in nature while reading or working. Offsetting this long-term investment will be $230,000 in annual lease payments. This project was a wonderful collaboration between the government of Newfoundland and Labrador, the Provincial Information Library Resources Board, and the town of Conception Bay South. Despite financial pressures and the supply chain shortages experienced throughout the pandemic, this project was completed on budget and close to our expected completion date. It is truly a legacy project for the town and a model for cooperation that other municipalities can embrace. As for the community park, the commissioning of the splash pad and ice surface was recently finalized, and our staff is now busy with the final touches. We are aiming to open the park very soon, starting with the playground. In the new year, as weather conditions permit, we will open the ice surface and the change rooms. Your worship, our budget is $160,000 for the first year of operations. This includes costs to operate the facility and additional work, such as the spring landscaping. In time, we expect these costs will decrease. We kindly ask residents for their patience as we open the community park, as there are often a few kinks to work out in the beginning stages of opening any new facility of this size. Without a doubt, this will be a wonderful, inclusive amenity our community can enjoy. Speaking of community projects, Council recently adopted a new recreation and cultural master plan to help guide the strategic planning and development of facilities, parks, arts and culture, and new programs over the next several years. The plan is a long-term strategy that identifies the greatest needs and opportunities for our municipality, bringing forward 34 overall recommendations and an implementation plan that Council will review and consider next year. Recreation services in Conception Bay South will continue to support and foster quality of life, diversity, sustainability, and inclusivity. The plan also identified the need for a new regional community center. Council remains committed to this project and has determined that the Gateway will be its location. The concept plan will be released in early 2023, with targeted consultations continuing throughout the year. As mentioned earlier, our financial advisors have projected that economic conditions should begin to improve in late 2023 or 2024. By this time, Council hopes to have a better understanding of the project costs. Hopefully, we will be in a position to provide more definitive timeframes for commencing design without exposing residents to project costs that are not sustainable. Now I would like to move on to the topic of safety, which is a priority for Council. Next year, we are investing $4.2 million in fire protective services. This budget sees us continuing to invest in the health and safety of our firefighters by allocating $40,000 for medical surveillance to detect occupational illnesses and diseases. We are also investing in advanced protective clothing that includes containment control packages to protect our firefighters who may be exposed to potential carcinogens. A modest allocation is also included for the construction of a new radio tower to provide stronger communication links in all areas of the town. Another substantial investment is our $6.9 million expenditure for road work, which includes $4 million for street paving and another $2.4 million for upgrades to one of our main arterial roads, Minerals Road. This is the last of the major town-owned roads to be upgraded that connects Peacekeepers Way to Route 60. This project is being carried over from Budget 2022. In addition, Council has once again allocated $500,000 towards the construction of sidewalks along Route 60 and near school zones. We will also invest $1.8 million in our snow and ice control program to continue 24/7 services during the snow season. Above and beyond this, we will see $3 million spent on water and sewer services, which includes $2 million in the water transmission main replacement project. Currently, 94% of eligible homes throughout our town are connected to water and sewer services. This council is committed to ensuring more of our residents have access to this basic service. In addition, Your Worship, this council was elected with a strong mandate to pursue economic development, and Budget 2023 continues to see us working hard in this area. Residential and commercial attraction, along with commercial development prospects for the Gateway, continue to be focal points. We will also invest in the oil and gas sector, tourism, and the green economy. Our budget for economic development and tourism is once again nearly $1 million. Now, something I'm absolutely delighted to announce is that 2023 will see us adding a 3.2 kilometer extension to our cherished trailway system. We have budgeted $1 million to complete the final phase of this popular coastal trail network, which will extend from Doyle's Road to Indian Pond. The project will also include the replacement of a trestle at Seal Cove Pond. This is something our West End residents have been waiting on for years, and we are very happy to announce the project here tonight. Residents are advised that this extension will not impede the proposed 17-kilometer ATV route development projected to begin at the ATV staging area on Seal Cove Road, as indicated on the town's application to Crown Lands. In 2023, we will also be exploring options for the provision of a busing service from Conception Bay South to a central location within St. John's, as well as options for a potential operator for the Topsail Beach Canteen. Your Worship, more work is required on both of these items, but we know they are important issues to residents, and we wish to progress them in 2023. Furthermore, next year will be the 4th consecutive year that the town will waive all residential permit fees for extensions, decks, fences, general repairs, and accessory buildings. However, permit fees for new home construction will be reinstated. This is a strategic decision to help foster growth, something we continue to see in both our housing and commercial sectors. Given today's economy, This is something we are proud of. It speaks volumes and demonstrates that Conception Bay South is a great place to live and raise a family. Now, on another note, the town has traditionally budgeted considerably under the umbrella of maintenance costs, whether it be for building maintenance, which sees an increase of over $92,000 in 2023, gasoline and vehicle parts, which sees an increase of $100,000 in 2023, or lift station maintenance, which sees an increase of $75,000 in 2023. On top of these increases, we have not been able to source fleet due to global supply shortages. If replacements are not found, this will directly impact core services. Therefore, this budget provides an allocation to replace several light and heavy-duty vehicles. Your Worship, we support the federal and provincial government's action on climate change. As a coastal community, we have seen firsthand the costly impacts of extreme weather events, such as storm surges that have cost millions of dollars in damage to our trailway and the Long Pond Harbor breakwater. To ensure we are doing our necessary part in managing climate change, we will continue to scrutinize how we do business, in particular with our engineering and public works department and planning and development department. In 2023, we will begin multi-year planning on how we adapt to our ever-changing environment. While we hope it never be needed, we will also plan a thorough review of our emergency management plan to ensure we are prepared in the event a disaster happens. Your Worship, over the last couple of years, our residents have faced great challenges, especially when it comes to COVID-19 and now the cost of living. We have demonstrated that we are a community of resilience with neighborhoods that are there for one another, no matter what circumstance we may face. When times are hard, we must look for things to celebrate. And what better opportunity to celebrate than the town's 50th anniversary? It is certainly a very special occasion. As always, the town will host numerous events throughout the year to bring the community together. But next year, we are aiming for bigger and better. We will kick off our exciting anniversary year with the New Year's Eve fireworks show and many more exciting events to come. We will work in partnership with many of our community groups to make sure this is the biggest celebration the town has ever seen. In the spirit of celebration, I would now like to take a look back on the year we are bringing to a close. I am proud of the progress this council has made in our first year in office. We enacted the 30-kilometer-per-hour speed limit in school areas. We have some of the busiest roads in this province, and the safety of our children is paramount. A pilot project was initiated at Duns Hill Road to discover how we can make this intersection safer. We installed pedestrian-activated traffic lights near Manuel's River, something our residents have long advocated. As noted earlier, we are in the final stages of two very exciting community projects, the community park and a new public library. We have become the most transparent council in Conception Bay South's history as it relates to meeting minutes, which are now available on our website. The commercial sector in Conception Bay South continues to grow. The total number of commercial permits issued by the town in 2022 exceeds the total number of permits issued in any of the previous 5 years. We approved a new tire recycling facility in the CBS Industrial Park that will bring jobs and new tax revenue, a great step forward for our commercial revenue. And in 2022, we saw a significant level of investment in capital projects to the tune of $20 million. The residential construction sector remains strong in Conception Bay South. Construction starts on 75 new houses, and the town has issued permits valued at over $4 million in residential property improvements. In conclusion, we had some incredibly challenging but responsible decisions to make for this budget. Our balanced budget of $39.7 million was achieved through lean administration, slight tax increases, and a strong expenditure and debt management strategy. One that will see us further reduce our debt by $185,000 next year. I would like to express special thanks to my council colleagues and our staff for tackling this challenging budget with financial diligence and leadership, as well to our dedicated staff, both management and those represented by CUPE Local 3034. I would also like to acknowledge the Director of Finance for her continued efforts in steadfast financial management and in the preparation of the municipal budget. To end tonight's speech, Council is putting forward a budget that we believe is fiscally prudent and fair. Budget 2023 is very much about making Conception Bay South the community of choice in this province and building pride among our residents. Thank you.